Welcome you all to the Exhibition Kitchen. We are so happy to have our authors here today. They are truly our loves, right? We love them.
And how many times is this the ninth?
So this is, I think, about 9 times that they have been here.
We're going to have to pay rent.
I think so. What do you guys think? So let me just introduce you, Baking with the Brass Sisters. We started a relationship with them way back in 2006 with their first cookbook. And we are so thrilled to have them back for their 3rd cookbook. They are James Beard nominees for their other 2 cookbooks. Marilyn is a Northeastern alum from 64 and 66. How about NU Huskies? Let's give her a So Marilyn is the NU alum. Shayla are authors of Heirloom Cooking with the Brass Sisters and Heirloom Baking. And if anybody has not seen those books, they are in our bookshelf over here, signed because they have been here, like we said, quite a few times. They've been at presidential events here at the university. They have been here many times cooking for our students. They have been just an integral part of our Exhibition Kitchen events here. Calling the Sisters Dessert Geniuses, Food and Wine magazine selected both of their previous books for its annual volumes, the best of 25 cookbooks. The Brass Sisters have been featured in countless national news outlets, including the New York Times, Chicago Tribune, Boston Globe, House Beautiful, Chocolatier Magazine, Miami Herald, The Jewish Voice, and the list just goes on and on. So we are so thrilled again to have them here today. They have been hosted. They have been hosts on PBS and the Cooking Channel. They have appeared. Can anybody right now tell me what took place here in this Exhibition Kitchen a few years back? Somebody that doesn't work here. Who said that? Who said that? Okay, you just want a cookbook. So, Throw Down with Bobby Flay.
And we won.
It was filmed right here in our Exhibition Kitchen space with the sisters. They appear regularly on NPR's All Things Considered, found recipes in the NPR blog The Salt. We know that they're close to our hearts right here in Cambridge, Massachusetts. All of their cookbooks are all heirloom recipes that they have collected throughout the years. I can't tell you how many cookbooks they have. They can tell you how many.
6,500 cookbooks, some dating back to the 1600s.
Some with a lot of dust on.
Yes. And we have over 200 manuscript cookbooks.
So they have listened to the stories of recipes that have been passed down by family and friends and interpreted them for the home kitchen. They've even included some of their own recipes created over 126 years of combined home cooking experience. In the book, they have also included many other recipes. If you guys have family recipes, please send them to the Brass Sisters. Our Director of Dining Services, Maureen Timmons, happened to send them a recipe, and guess what? It's in this cookbook. They've included many of their own recipes. A very special shout out to Gail Timmons back in Malone, New York. This is her mother's recipe many, many years ago. Myrna and Chester Langlow. Please forgive me if I did not say that right. They were up in Malone, New York, so we're very excited about having this recipe in their cookbook. Today we are going to do a couple of demonstrations. They are going to demo chocolate chess pie, Grandma Goldberg's honey cake. You guys are all going to taste the Grandma Goldberg's honey cake, Fran's sour cream espresso brownie, and Mary's pumpkin bread. And I want to just send out a special thank you to everybody that makes these events possible. Our team here at Stetson, Chef Sam, Bill, Tom, and the team, they all make all this wonderful food for you guys. And I want to do a special shout out to Kathy Cooney in the back of the room. She made that beautiful pink velvet cake for us today. So you guys will have to fight about all the samples on the counter. So without any further ado, here's Sheila and Marilyn.
Thank you.
Guess what? We're not chefs. We're home bakers and home cooks. And the recipes in our new book contain some heirloom recipes from our collection of handwritten manuscript cookbooks. But they also contain some recipes from our past. And
We have a checkered past.
yes, we like gingham.
Aprons.
Aprons, yes. But a lot of the recipes are recipes that we used to make when we were sweet young things in the 1960s and the 1970s. And we usually serve them to a select group of suitors, that, possibly, marriage in the future. That didn't work out. But anyway, we came up with some great recipes during the 60s and 70s, and we have a lemon Rio pie that's very nice, and then we have
The famous brown sugar brownies that
Yes.
we've repeated in this book because
And we've
by popular
demoed here.
request.
But anyway, I wanted to tell you where we got these recipes. Now, the first recipe we got from our friend Karen Johnson. Now, actually, what it was a handwritten lemon chess pie recipe that that was written in a Georgia cookbook, and she gave it to us. It was delicious. It was quick. It was inexpensive. You didn't even need a mixer. Well, it was so good that we decided we wanted to try it as a chocolate chess pie. So we put a lot of ourselves into that. And have you ever heard the expression dump and bake?
This is it.
This is it. So I'm going to be the talking cookbook for this one. And first of all, I just want to tell you, in the new book, we have a recipe for Sheila's Perfect Pie Crust. It is made in a food processor, and it takes approximately 3 minutes to make and put together. And
What we do before we put the crust in is spray the pie plate well.
with
that,
with a vegetable oil spray,
Pam.
like Pam. Now, we don't have stock in Pam, but we just,
use market.
Okay, so there's the pie.
Right. Now, the reason it helps if you spray it well is, you can look really fancy when you just cut the slices and they all come out.
Okay.
All right.
Now,
This is way.
I'm rearing to go.
Okay.
Okay, now we start and finish each other's sentences. All right, I am the talking book. Okay. In a small bowl. Okay. Buy flour, sugar, cornmeal, and salt.
Okay.
Dump
Done.
sugar.
Okay.
Okay.
Cornmeal.
Cornmeal.
Salt.
Yes. Okay.
It is. I gotta get the cornmeal.
Okay. Now, you can use this whisk. I'm taking over your jaw.
Find me that.
This is the way we cook. We actually wrote 2 cookbooks using a galley kitchen with no dishwasher. All right, I'm going to let you continue a little bit with that. This is such fun. Baking should be fun. You should have fun baking.
All
Okay.
right, just a couple of whisks. If you
Okay.
don't have a whisk, you can use a
All right, the eggs. Here are the eggs.
All
Now,
right.
you know what I'm going to do? This is the way we bake in our kitchen in Cambridge. And we don't have a galley kitchen. We have a full-size kitchen now. All right. Do you mind?
No. Now, this really takes training.
I know. I think I started, training for this when I was 3 years old.
Okay.
All right, well, I'm doing this. Okay, so what you've got are your dry ingredients.
Yeah.
All right, here's the, okay. Now I need my melted and cooled butter and whisk it into the eggs.
All right. No, put the eggs in the bowl. It might help.
Are you sure? Yes. This is what we go through. Okay. There they are.
Oh,
Now, why do we cool the butter? Because if we didn't cool the melted butter, we'd have scrambled eggs. Because the heat from the melted butter would scramble the eggs.
Good.
Now, if I don't have a whisk at home, I use a fork.
Now, may I for a moment?
All right, you have to be neat, I know
Oh,
that. All right. Okay, then we're going to add the milk and the vanilla.
all right. I mean, I like a whisk.
All right, you can use the whisk. Sheila is left-handed too. They say that
Okay.
left-handed people are very passionate about everything. They're very intelligent,
That's
very
true.
creative.
Okay, now,
All right, it's vanilla.
vanilla. Okay, there's
Okay,
vanilla.
milk.
Milk.
Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is put a little bit of that cool mixture into the cooled chocolate. Now, we melted the chocolate in the microwave. Now, all of the instructions are in the book. Okay, now why are we doing that? Should I answer my own question? We're tempering the chocolate. In other words, we're bringing down the temperature of the chocolate so we won't make more scrambled eggs.
Okay. So
All right.
while you can mix this with the whisk, while I will clean this out with the spatula. Okay?
Okay.
Get the whisk.
So we have to.
The whisk. Okay, want to stop for a second now?
Strangers in the night.
They don't even know that song. Oh, children.
Well, how do you think I feel? I'm the oldest alumna in the room.
Okay, I'm taking
All right.
this too.
Now, what about sugar?
Okay, sugar goes in next.
Okay.
Have I missed anything? No, that's it.
That's it.
Okay, so sugar goes in here.
Yeah. Okay.
This really takes training. And
Do
then-
I get a chance to critique?
Sure.
I think you're doing a fairly good job. All right, now, is this hard?
No.
Could anyone do it? Could anyone do it blindfold?
Delicious.
Can I just tell you guys that they sold 3,000 books in 8 minutes last Sunday in QVC?
In 8 minutes.
8 minutes.
All right, now, this is the best part. This
the
is
best
done.
part. Yeah,
You did that so well.
well, I've been practicing.
Okay, now, this is the big part. Pour the filling into the prepared pie shell. Is there anyone here who doesn't understand that? Okay. Now, what's gonna happen? This is the chemistry part. We're gonna put it in the oven. In the book, we have all the timing for you. What we're gonna do, this is going to pop up. It's like a hi-hat. That's gonna fall a little bit. Now, I have a warning. There may be little cracks on the baked pie. Don't even worry about it. I mean, you could have a cup of tea and relax and, you know, not think about it. Because what happens is, we have a secret ingredient. It's called whipped cream. And don't tell anybody our secret. But whenever a pie or a cake isn't perfect on top, see, we're home bakers, we're not chefs. We put rosettes of whipped cream on top. And then, you know, sometimes we put little chocolate coffee beans or little pieces of chocolate
From Trader Joe's.
from Trader Joe's. But anyway, this goes in. Now, we do want to tell you one thing.
I have warning edgewise.
All right, okay, well, we're gonna put it in, we put it in for 25 minutes.
Good. And
Okay.
then,
Now, if this is browning too much, you know, the
take a
crust,
piece of foil,
and you make
fold it
something
in the middle,
called
and you
tent.
just put it in like this.
So
And that way,
it still bakes.
it will continue baking, and this will keep it from getting burned. You know, the pie crust.
But
The top is stuck.
Now, be very careful when you handle this, because the heat will go into the aluminum foil. We're very, very careful about safety tips. And I want you to know that in the new book, we have the safety tips for each recipe in italics. The other thing we do is we have a separate chapter on baking tips. and we have a lot of sidebars. So in other words, we're your two old friends in the kitchen.
Very
We're
old.
speak for yourself. And we walk you through the recipes. We also have a website called www.thebrasssisters.com.
No surprise.
Yes, and you can contact us there if you have a problem with not these recipes, but any recipes. And we will at least give you a little bit of our acquired, earned kitchen wisdom. Now, whether we're right or wrong, you know, I can't guarantee, but we're usually right 98% of the time.
Good.
Okay, so that
that's
can
it.
go in.
So if you want to open the door,
I
it's
think
the
so.
bottom one.
Is it the bottom one?
Yeah.
It isn't.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Okay. Hot stove, hot
Yeah,
stove.
we have to put it in for 25 minutes to begin.
Okay. All right, now, maybe someone will.
We have it.
Yeah.
They have it. Okay.
Okay.
All
So
right.
we're through with
We're
this.
through with this, fine. Now, you're gonna be the talking cook.
Okay.
And we're doing another recipe, and this is a recipe that's close to both our hearts. And I have to give you a little bit,
Background.
you can say that again.
Background.
You know, we don't rehearse. I just want you to know that this is not a rehearse. You know, when we went on QVC and we did our training, they said, you know,
Do not
memorize. You know, you don't memorize, because if you forget something in the middle, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. So we don't memorize. We improvise. Okay, now, this is a recipe called Grandma Goldberg's Honey Cake. And in 2009, we have a good friend named Hillary Finkel-Buxton. And Sheila and Hillary and I all worked at WGBH, the public television station in Boston. And you know how you like to take a minute, go to the water cooler and, you know, schmooze. And anyway, what happened was she started to tell us about her Grandma Celia Goldberg's honey cake. And it sounded very good, and the truth is, my mother, our mother, Dorothy Katzafras, used to make a wonderful honey cake. And for some reason, we have a lot of her recipes, but we never had the honey cake recipe. And we had been trying a lot of honey cake recipes, and some of them were like bread. You know, the crumb was very coarse, or it was like dessert. It was overly sweet. So anyway, Hillary said, I will give you the recipe. So she gave it to us. It was a copy in her grandmother Celia's handwriting, and she copied it. And, you know, as we used to say, she Xeroxed it. But anyway, I looked at it. Sheila and I made it, and we were big shots. We put raisins in, and we made it in one loaf pan, and it overflowed the loaf pan, and the raisins fell to the bottom. But it
Other
tasted,
than that,
no,
it was
it was delicious. It tasted just like our mother's recipes. So anyway, not to be daunted, I bet you haven't heard that word in a while. One afternoon, Sheila was at Channel 2, and Hillary was at Channel 2 in Boston. I was in my apartment in Cambridge,
cooking away.
cooking and baking away, and Hillary's sister Sandy was in Dalton, Pennsylvania. So just to get this straight, Hillary and Sandy are sisters, and Sheila and I are sisters. And the four sisters got together and emailed all afternoon while I tried to bake the recipe. And son of a gun, it came out really good. And we were thrilled. Now I have to tell you just a little bit about Grandma Goldberg. This is a recipe for from a 100, she admitted to 101 when she died. This woman came to this country from the Ukraine and the Russian Empire when she was 2. Her husband owned a bakery. She worked with him side by side. She had 2 children, a boy and a girl. And the girl, Faye, was the mother of Sandy and Hillary. So anyway, I did get a chance to talk to Grandma Goldberg on the phone before she died. And it was this wispy, sweet little voice. And we talked about her honey cake. And I said to myself, someday I'm gonna make that, and I did. And anyway, you're gonna throw
Here
this
we go.
together. All right, okay, you're the talking cookbook. Now, I just want to tell you something else, because you're like, family and friends to us. These are whipped egg whites. Now, if you're affluent and you have an extra bowl, we like KitchenAid. We don't have stock in it, the way we don't have stock in Pan. But we like KitchenAid or a good mixer. It's a wonderful investment. You'll have it
It'll
forever.
last longer than you will.
Well, that's anyway, if you are affluent enough to afford a second bowl, then you whip it up in the first bowl and you set it aside. Now, if you don't have a second bowl, fear not. What happens is you whip up the egg whites and then you put them in another bowl and you let them sit. Now, because this is thrown together so quickly, the egg whites will not deflate and get water.
Right, did
Are
you
you
just
with
say
me?
deflate? Did you just say deflate?
Yes.
We don't like that word.
We don't use,
Right in New England.
I have made a faux pas. This is not deflate cook.
That's
Deflate
right.
cake. But it's a good word. But
It
it
is.
has to, it should never be used with a football.
That's right.
All right, okay.
And
so-
Tom.
And Tom. So anyway, to tell, oh, by the way, Andy Ryan, who's our photographer, took the picture of us for the front cover and all the food pictures. And I want you to know he did a portrait of Tom Brady. So you can imagine how he made us look better. Now, okay, Sheila,
Okay.
tell us what
To
you're doing.
prepare the pan, now we use tin loaf pan,
Well, you can use
but
glass.
you can use
As long as
glass.
they're oven
And what I do, and I'm gonna spray it here because I don't wanna get it over the flame
Well,
or
just,
anything.
you know,
All
give
right,
it enough.
I didn't run away with myself.
You see how I'm taking over?
Then you put a piece of wax paper
Or parchment
paper there.
And then you spray again, am I right?
Yeah.
And
just
you
the
run it
parchment.
up the side.
Did that.
And there's a reason, well, you didn't do it in this one.
Well, I'm only working
Now,
on one at a
are you
time.
tucking this underneath?
I did because I don't have a scissors.
Oh, all right.
So here is
Life
this.
is not perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
And then,
Okay. And then, what you do is you put a little flour,
yeah,
just a little bit,
like this.
and then you shake it around. If we cough, it's from the oil spray.
Like that. And
Okay.
then,
You can put it in here.
and you just tap it.
Okay. And there's enough here.
Yeah. And what happens is this allows you to get the cake out. Excuse
Okay.
me.
Now,
Wait,
what?
when the cake comes out, all you have to
After
do.
it cools.
After it cools, just lift it out, and you're all set.
Now, I have to tell you right now, there's a lot of flour in there, and you won't have that much flour when
No,
you
I usually
do
put just
that.
a tiny bit in.
Okay. Now, you're gonna be the talking cook.
Okay.
All right. So we've got our egg whites, set them aside.
Now, we have an extra glass bowl, because we don't use two bowls, you know,
Okay.
we didn't have two
So
bowls.
this
with
is
it.
your,
Yeah, okay,
these are yours.
I know it. So,
Okay.
what we do is we do the egg whites first because everything comes together so fast. You really don't have to, you know, do this afterwards. This is done and it's all
I think
ready
we've
to
done
go.
enough on the egg whites.
Okay.
See, I'm the younger sister, so I can get away with anything.
Yeah.
Okay, now, let me talk about the instant coffee. You take a, you know, first of all, read the recipe at least twice before you make anything. Secondly, remember to turn on the stove and make sure that the rack is at the right level.
Usually the middle of the.
Right. And I would say to put all of the ingredients on in front of you already in the right bowls. Have your utensils ready. Now, this needed a little extra preparation. What we use are 2 teaspoons of instant coffee, and we got it right here, and a cup of hot water, and that's what we did. but you have to cool it, and you can put it in the refrigerator if you want. Now this is nice and cool. Okay, now we got this here.
Okay, now you have to
You've got
combine.
the separated egg whites. Okay, you don't need this.
I thought I was being the talking.
All right, well, let's just, all right. We actually bake like this.
Okay.
Can I put it all?
No, you can't.
Why?
Because you need to put in salt, ginger, and cinnamon.
No, you put it in with the flour.
You didn't say that.
Well, keep going.
Well, put it in with the flour then.
Okay. All right, so here's your salt.
Yeah?
It clumps. You can always tell what the weather's like when your salt clumps. All right. Now, cinnamon, ginger. Good. Okay, so that's that.
Okay.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so let's mix that. I don't have a clean whisk here, but we're gonna do it like
I like doing it like that. Now, you know, Martha Stewart does it this way, and she will whisk things. Now, in the old days, because flour was different, coarser, you ended up measuring and then sifting
My mother
and
used
measuring
to
it
sift
3 times. In this world where everyone is so busy, we don't do that.
Okay, now.
Tip of the hat to Martha Stewart for whisking.
Okay. Do
Okay.
you want me to add the baking
Yes.
soda to the water?
Okay, that's gonna activate the baking soda.
I'm gonna mix this.
Good for you.
Okay.
All right. This is exciting. Okay. Do you have your things ready? Okay. Whipped egg whites. And you know, it is not a sin to keep looking at the recipe. I
Well,
mean,
you
if it were
wanted me to
TV, you know, they get
You wanted me
excited.
to be the talking.
All right, see, I was right. You put that all, this is the way we do it.
Okay.
The only difference is we have a laptop on the kitchen table. It's all open, the kitchen and dining room. And while Sheila's doing something, she'll yell it out and I'll type it out.
Okay, I'm yelling it out.
All right,
How
tell
would
me
you
what
look-
I'm doing.
How would you like to put the
Okay,
sugar and egg yolk in the bowl of a mix?
okay. Okay,
Okay,
there you go.
Good.
Get your beaten up.
Okay.
Do you have a
I
spatula?
have a
right now?
spatula that I can give you.
This is called adventure baking. Now, I just want you to know that it looks like we're kind of fooling around, but the truth is the results are gonna be delicious. And we never use gourmet ingredients. They're all on your kitchen shelf or your pantry shelf. Okay, so I'm going to do that, but
Yeah.
before I make noise, let's see what else we're gonna do. We got your baking soda.
Yeah. Why don't I whisk together that
All right,
stuff
you
and
tell
do-
everybody what you're doing.
Okay.
I love this color. We have one at home. It's pistachio.
Now, I need a bowl that's big enough, which is this.
Beautiful.
I'm putting the honey in this bowl.
Okay. All right. Is that your honey?
Yeah, but I have to add more to it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not doing too well at, now what do we put in? The oil?
Yeah, we're gonna mix the oil.
Okay.
Get it out of your way.
All right.
There you go.
Sometimes it's easier one person does it.
I know. Okay.
You mix that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Now, mix this. This is the chemical reaction from the baking soda.
And the water goes in there.
There we go.
Okay, Doral,
I'm gonna use my finger, but you didn't see that. I wonder what, Mario Batali does. Okay, I'm gonna lift this. Gonna borrow
This
this.
is one of the best parts, is the honey, with the coffee.
And I suggest that you scrape the bottom and the side, because sometimes the sugar in the bottom clumps at the bottom.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, you can ask.
Yeah, just
Okay,
yell out
now we're
questions.
gonna,
I have a question about flour. Did I read in one of your books that you said generic flour is just as good as like King Arthur or?
well, what I did say is this, that we tested the recipes with King Arthur flour. We tested the recipes with gold medal, and we tested them with generics, you know, the store brands. There was not that much difference. I mean, if you
I
have
don't
a
think there was
preference.
any difference.
If you have a preference, fine. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to add the flour and the dry ingredients and 3 different,
A little bit of that.
yeah, and these are this is the oil, the honey, and the coffee. This is actually a wonderful mixer. Now, I always start it very slowly, otherwise the flour will just,
Or, like I did once, I got chocolate all over the ceiling.
when she did that, it was a design statement. Okay, now we are going to do this again.
Yeah, okay. Just pour it in.
All right. Now what you did is you took one of my bowls.
Oh,
See, that's the bowl. It's always good to add things in at least 2 sections. Okay. And I'm gonna do this. This is what I mean about dump and bake. Does anybody remember that program where Bobby Flay tried to use a food processor and it wouldn't work?
What was it on?
Iron Chef.
It's every,
Was it on Iron Chef?
I think it was, but it was an early one. It happened.
Maybe we'll talk about Bobby Flay when you shut that off.
Okay. He's a good kisser.
Oh.
Well, you asked. Shut it off, yeah. All right, dump it in. Dump. All right, that's it. This is our 3rd. Do you want to be the one to put this in? All right. Now, what would you all like to know about Bobby Flay?
What was the recipe you beat him at, first of all?
It was my mother's recipe for pineapple upside down cake. And we were really surprised when he showed up. And he, I will say, was very gracious. And we said, before, the actual judging, we said something like, everybody's a winner. We didn't want to, overstep ourselves. And it turned out that we won. And we were thrilled, and he was a very, very good loser. I will say this. And as I said before, he was a very good kisser. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do.
well, I wanna,
Just go around the side. Now, Grandma Goldberg lived in the Bronx, and she had a sister, Yetta. And Yetta and Grandma Goldberg called each other every day. Now, as I said, Grandma Goldberg was 101 when she died, and Yetta was 102. I think that's about enough. I think so. Okay, now, this is a safety kit. We're not gonna do it now, but But what we advise people to do, when you're done with, mixing the ingredients, shut off the mixer, because you don't wanna be handling, the beaters with the mixer still plugged in, just in case.
Okay. Now,
Alright.
you get the joy of folding.
Oh, I love folding. Folding is my middle name. Okay, take this off. Gonna put it here. Usually we do this in 3 different parts, because it's always good to sort of, put a little bit of the egg whites in first to lighten it up. Now, we all know about folding, where you go like this. I don't know if you can see it, but under and over, under and over, in the 3 different parts. Now, here's a little tip. When you make a cake, for example, when Kathy made the pink velvet cake,
How beautiful is that cake? Very nice.
I think you should really applaud, because she did a fabulous. Stand up, Kathy.
And Sam did the other cake?
Yes.
Yes.
Now that's the maple walnut cake.
Yes, I do have to tell everybody in the room what you're eating right now has no nuts in it. But if anybody is allergic to nuts, please do not take anything on the counter, because we do have nuts in one of the cakes.
Yeah.
So I just want to make that statement now.
Now, the honey cake would ordinarily have sliced walnuts on top. I'm sorry, sliced almonds on top. What I was saying was that with the layer cake that Kathy made, she could have tapped the pans with the batter in it on the counter slightly to get any air bubbles out. But because this uses beaten egg whites, you don't tap it, because then the egg whites will deflate. And all the air that you put into the batter will be lost. And that's part of the leavening. Okay,
Okay, done?
done. All right.
Now,
Now,
you wanna put something in
it's
here?
the oil, the spray. I'm going to just pour. Now, the good thing is, we found out that this recipe makes 2 loaf cakes, not
We learned
one.
the hard way.
And what we did was, this is what Grandma Golden used to do. She gave one away.
You can
Or
also
you can
freeze
freeze
one.
one. Now, I'm trying to judge this by eye, and I will let you pour the other one. And I think I may need a little bit more. Once you pour this in, this is when
Wanna
you
come
add,
back to me with
Yeah.
that?
that's when you put the sliced almonds on top. And I'll tell you, the house, my apartment kitchen smelled like my mother's kitchen when we made this that afternoon, and whenever we make it.
We had an old-fashioned kitchen that was green and cream.
Yeah, the stove. Yeah, the stove was cream and cast iron, and it was, not cream, but green enamel and cast iron, and the floor was uneven. So every time my mother made chocolate velvet cake, one side, the top was slanted, so she would build up the side with frosting that was a little lower. And then my cousins discovered there was more frosting on that side, so they always asked for pieces from that side. Now, I did want to tell you something about bread. We have some wonderful bread recipes in there. And there was a wonderful story. We were at the Texas Book Festival, and a woman came up to us, and she said, a young woman, she said, my grandmother was the bread baker in the family. And she said she died before she could give the recipe to my mother and my aunt. And they were devastated. So she said, one night this is a true story, one night my aunt went to sleep, and she dreamt that she was baking bread with her mother, her grandmother. And she woke up the next morning and she had the recipe. And she baked it, and it was her mother's bread recipe. And I just thought that was a very unusual story. But there are some wonderful stories in the book, some of our stories too, because there was a time before you were all born when Sheila and I were young girls and we'd walk on the sand of Winthrop Beach on the North Shore of Massachusetts. And we usually walk at twilight, and we would talk about all the cakes and cookies and breads and pies we wanted to bake to serve to family and friends.
And possible boyfriends.
Well, there's always hope. But anyway, it was a wonderful time for us. And we
Hopes and dreams.
hopes and dreams, we still have them. And with this third cookbook that has more of us in it, all those hopes and dreams came to fruition. And we're working on the next cookbook. It's going to be a memoir with recipes. And it's going to be about Harvard Square and how I ran away from home at the age of 26 and lived at a YWCA. So there are lots of interesting stories. And as they say, stay tuned.
Okay, so I just want to ask everybody, how was the dessert? So we do have seconds to anybody. Ladies, would you like to taste?
Yes, I would.
Yes.
All these
Oh,
look
this is
beautiful.
lovely.
I'm going to try different.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Okay, so I'm going to ask everybody, look at your plate. Underneath this 5 free cookbooks out there. If you have a plate that says free cookbook, you won. Do we have one? We have 2? We have 3? 4? There's one more out there.
Maybe they got it.
Oh, maybe you, I hope you guys didn't get the free cookbook.
I'll take it.
So, can I just have you guys come up to the counter and I'll give
I
you the
did, I
cookbook?
ate it. Oh, that's it.
Whoever won the cookbook, bring your plate. And we have the, you can go right, I don't really want the plate, but here you go. But I'm going to ask you guys all to take, go to behind the counter and get a picture. That's the only thing we ask. Can everybody take a picture with us?
Deb, I want
You
a
have
trip.
one.
I want a trip to Paris.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, you can take that.
If anyone has any questions, just ask.
That's okay. And then we have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then we have a 6th one. You can come up too, because I promised you a cookbook for answering our question.
Deb and Sam and everyone, I just want to thank you. These are delicious.
Fabulous.
Thank
I'm on
you
my
all.
last piece already.
Thank you for all your efforts. You've made us feel at home. We really love it, and we are so thrilled that everyone came. We had a great time.
Somebody's missing a book. Who's missing the book?
Right over there.
Oh, there you go.
Please.
Okay, so everybody just gather around the sisters so we can take a group picture. Don't be afraid of this kitchen.
Or the sisters.
Ladies, yeah, all the sisters, they don't fight. You guys,
We don't
you
fight,
ladies,
we don't fight.
you stand in front of them.
We'll be sure with you.
There you go.
We're very sure.
Come on over here. That's all we ask is for a picture.
I would put my arm on.
All right, ready? We need you to come this way, one way or the other, or be shorter. Perfect. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, I hope you all enjoyed.
So, yeah, so we're going to sign the books after when we finish in just a few minutes. So if everybody takes their seat again. Again, we have more samples of food in a few minutes. sign in. We are also going to serve the things on the counter. Does anybody have any questions for the assistant? So what is your next adventure? What is the next step?
I can tell you right now,
We're going to Montreal.
yes, we're going to be talking at the oldest synagogue in Montreal. We're going to Worcester to talk at another synagogue, and we are meeting with a producer who is developing a series, television series, and we're hopeful about that. And it would probably be not just a cooking show, but a sort of, excuse me, adventure, reality, entertainment,
Fun.
fun. A little bit like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, but with the two of us.
And so what is your favorite recipe? If you had to pick one favorite, I know it's really like picking your, your favorite child, but
Well,
you have to have a
Well,
favorite.
I have more than one favorite. You know, you can't really say that, but,
you could.
I did. Well, I always loved brown sugar brownies, which is, the recipe is in it. But we made that chocolate chess pie for some friends that came over. And we used the chocolate crust. The recipe's in the book for the chocolate crust too. It's the same, the only difference is you take out a half a cup of flour and you put in a half a cup of cocoa, and that's a chocolate crust, and it's delicious. Anyway, we served it, and they almost died with delight, I have to tell you. And I, don't eat that much sweets because, as Marilyn says, she gave her waist to the
I
first.
dedicated my waist to the first book and my hips to the second.
And
I got an extra
The third book came out on the,
So anyway, they really liked the pie.
it was fabulous. It was just so good that you can lose yourself.
Now, I have a question, or not a question, a comment. We made Mary Polofsky's banana bread. She's a friend of ours, she and her husband, and Ralph. And we decided to add coconut, because we always have a banana bread recipe and a cocoa, and, a noodle pudding in every book. So this was a really, simple banana bread, traditional, with, the coconut. Well, we had a couple come over, and they finished, they had one piece left of a loaf of banana bread. And I thought that they were gonna have to go into marriage counseling. Seriously, they were fighting over this, and I said, please don't fight. It makes 2 loaves. I said, we've got one for you to take home. So we saved their marriage. And their son is getting married this month, so I think we deserve a
Now, we
pat
have
on
to
the
show
back.
you some wonderful.
This is a wonderful
books.
gift from Maureen Timmons' mother, Gail.
I want to hold it here so I want everyone to see these.
And these are treasures. Now, first of all, Maureen's mother did not know that Sheila collects this book. Now,
And the reason I collected is, it was one of my mother's favorites.
it was the book that, it's called All About Home Baking. It's from the 1930s. My mother was married in 1936, and this is the book that she learned to bake from. And so we have a sort of a warm spot in our heart. And her book, her copy, is falling apart, but she had all her recipes
She wrote
handwritten on
wrote
the
them
back
all
and front
here and in
pages.
the back. And
So every time we
this is
see
my
one,
mother.
yeah.
This is my favorite.
So Sheila now has 48 of them. This is her private.
Over the
thing.
past 35, 40
Yes.
years, every
And-
time I see them.
And our
I
good
see
friend Nick
my mother.
Malgieri, the pastry chef, also collects them, and he has 36 or 38.
He said, you win.
But
This is wonderful.
that's a treasure. This is another treasure.
We'll leave it open in front so you
From
can
Gail
see
Timmons.
it. But
Here's a rhubarb marmalade, handwritten recipes. And this is what people did.
Well, I'm holding it. 'cause
Yeah,
I don't want you to fall apart.
they wrote recipes, they pasted them in over the pages to keep everything together. And you can learn a lot about the person who compiled these handwritten recipes by looking through them. Sometimes they have poems or prayers, and sometimes they have shopping
They're
lists or
wonderful.
menus.
And Gladys's chocolate cake.
And I must say this, that women, mostly women who did this, were very generous, and they did give their recipes to their family and friends, and they also made sure that if it were Gladys's rhubarb
Now, I
marmalade,
can't read the name, but it's Mrs.
Turp's filled cookies, that the name went with the recipe so that everyone got it who deserved it. Now, there's one thing we haven't talked about, and about the new book. We did something a little different. We had one savory recipe in heirloom cooking, and that was for a sort of a cheddar cracker. Now, and we did have another one, which was a cheese balls, fried cheese balls. But this time we have a whole chapter. There's the Dahlia orange marmalade in it. There is a rhubarb walnut marmalade, and there are some curried cashew crisps. We have a lot of like sun-dried tomato and Parmesan crackers, and we have a poppy seed cheddar biscotti. So we have a whole chapter on savories, and it's really wonderful because you can serve them on, a cheese plate or with wine. But we also have a recipe that we ourselves developed. It's for a blue cheese and pear tart. And it's really super because there's blue cheese in the crust as well as the filling. And you can use it for a first course, you can use it on a cheese and fruit plate, or you could serve it as a cheese and fruit course. Now I want you to know that when we were growing up, there was no such thing as a cheese plate, not family.
No, it was cream cheese, cottage cheese, farmer cheese,
Munster,
and Munster, and that was
cheddar. Now, Swiss was a little foreign,
Yeah.
but other than that, so we grew up, and then we learned about cheese plates and fruit plates.
We grew up in a kosher home, and I have to tell you,
Speak a little louder.
we didn't taste a cheeseburger until the 7th grade. And I have to tell you, it was a revelation. It was so delicious, because we thought God was going to strike us dead. It would have been worse.
But, and before I had it, I said to myself, why are they all making such a fuss about a cheeseburger? And then I had one, and then I knew.
And the rest was history.
Yes. But the thing is, we don't have a kosher home, but we do have a traditional Jewish home. But we also make a lot of Chinese food and a lot of Italian food. Because we are Italian in our hearts.
Maryland's tomato sauce.
It's a fresh tomato sauce.
Is heavenly.
I think they were on the cooking channel with their you cooked
Lasagna.
for the lasagna and the meatballs,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
For the firemen.
Yeah.
I remember that
Yeah, that
specifically.
was so good.
So the Brass sisters, the Brass will be here to sign all of your cookbooks. The cookbooks are for sale in the outside room if anybody chooses to buy one. And thank you, ladies, for coming.
Our pleasure.
Next week's event is Stacy Cogswell from the New England Cookbook. She was on Top Chef, the Boston recent edition that just happened last May. So she's from the Regal Beagle, and then I think she was just at Liquid Art House, and she's currently at Barcelona. We also have we have our pumpkin carving contest taking place next week. Hope you students can join us, and then everybody can come see all the pumpkins on display on Friday, October 16th. And then, is it the 15th or 16th? 16th, okay. And then we also have a candy addiction cookbook coming 10/28. And we also have Kristen Kish coming back from Top Chef November 4th. So again, we hope that you guys will join us for all of these events, and we enjoy doing them for you. Again, thank you to our team for putting this on.
Yes.
Our chef Sam's gone, Chef Tom, Kathy,
Yeah.
the whole team.
Yep.
Chef Tom, yep. So again, thank you guys all for coming, and the ladies are gonna just take a quick
Right.
break, and then they're gonna meet you out in the room to sign books.
Now,
Okay.
are you